Indian food or scoring runs against India? Which one do you love more?
I love both of them. I grew up in an Indian home. I eat Indian food every day.
I literally want to ask you about your stance, how you took your guard, marking the bail and all of that. Did that come from an early age?
Australia is one of those teams will never let up. And the guys was tough and they were coming hard at you all times. We're from the Caribbean, so we listen to all kinds of music in the Caribbean. We also listen to Indian music, all the music around. Test cricket to me will still be the ultimate, but T20 cricket does not require those things. All it requires a little bit of skills to make sure you can smash a few balls around the park. He came in as a young fella, did really, really well in under-19 cricket, got drafted in Bangalore. Came in there, I watched him play innings, gave us the start we needed at the time.
Right, what an evening ahead for us, because I have an opportunity to interview a West Indian legend. I'm talking about a man who hails from Guyana, a man who, of course, we remember fondly in terms of the test format of the game. He's played 164 of them, and of course, a small matter of so many ODIs and so many, of course, just list A games for many teams around the world. I'm talking about the great Shivnarine Chanderpaul. Shiv, thank you so much for your time. How are we this evening?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Your name resonates well with the music world as well, with Chanderpaul. Are you into reggae, of that sort of music?
Look, we're from the Caribbean, so we listen to all kinds of music in the Caribbean. We listen to all the music. I listen to reggae, soca. There's so much different types of music. We also listen to Indian music, all the music around. I listen to them once I could understand them, and there's music that is not too harsh or so. I listen to all of it.
The man who's gone on to make a name out of your name, Chanderpaul, have you ever asked him for a couple of pennies with all the records he sold?
No, look, we are professional, and I know the guy. Seen him, he said he saw me on a flight before. Spoke to him the other day in Jamaica. He said maybe I may not remember, but maybe must probably be one of those mornings that you're really tired and you just getting on a flight and probably walking on the flight half asleep. So yeah, maybe one of those mornings. But I had a chat with him in Jamaica the other day, and look, he explained to me how it came about, how it came about. A kid wanted to just said something to him and wanted an autograph, and then he said, Chanderpaul, can you give me an autograph? And that is how he remembered my name as a cricketer. And that's how the song came about. But look, we are professional. I would not do something like that. I would not even ask him anything like that. That is not how I am. I'm happy in the first place that he added my name to the song and he said it in an interview, but I'm not one of those persons.
There's a famous cricketer in Trinidad, Shivnarine Chanderpaul. Everybody was like, Chanderpaul, and that name stuck. And then I just started to say it on intros and met the dude Chanderpaul years later, and he's like, yo.
Okay, just to finish up then, what's your favorite Sean Paul song?
Obviously the one you sing with my name in it.
I mean, that's all of them. But just wanted to ask you stuff off field before we get into all the on field chat. You were also apparently one point in time Mr. Guyana, because I know you're a dashing man. When did that come about? Do you remember that time in your life?
Not really.
No, not really. You got awarded Mr. Guyana for your good looks.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, maybe it's an award that is lying somewhere in the internet, but that we just had to confirm that fact, whether it was a myth. Now we do know. Sean, I just want to ask you about, I call you Sean there. Shiv, I literally want to ask you about your stance, because honestly, every cricket fan in the world thinks about that stance, how you took your guard, marking the bail and all of that. Did that come from an early age?
No, in the beginning of my career, I stood very sidearm. What used to be my problem is that my head is leaning over a lot and I keep falling over. So I try to open up a little bit where my head is now going forward, where my weight is going forward and not falling over too much. But at the end of it, I mean, if I stand open at the end, by the time the bowler is ready to bowl, my weight is actually, I'm back in the side arm position, and my weight is, as balanced and still as possible. So I'm not moving around too much, especially when the bowler is about to deliver the ball.
Are you surprised that no one else has kind of adopted that sort of stance? I mean, we saw George Bailey do it. We saw different kind of stances in the game so far, but yours has truly been unique.
No, look, if you look now, you've seen a lot of guys are now doing the open stance a little more. Depends on where they want to hit the ball. Depends on if people is trying to bowl the ball into their foot, trying to yark them. People are trying to use that open stance a little more now. In the past, we call it a 2-eye stance. You just open a little bit more it gives you room that you can access almost all around the cricket field. If you know how to get back in position, if you know how to align yourself back to the line of the ball, you're able to access all part of the ground easily doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're a coach, so you pass on those same sort of philosophies, I'm guessing. I just want to ask you about your illustrious test career, Shiv, because that 418 chase comes to mind instantly. What a brilliant moment it was for you and, of course, the rest of the West Indies. Talk to me about that day and the celebrations which followed after that historic chase.
Yeah, look, on day one of that test match, I had a broken finger. I mean, Gilly pulled a short ball. It was a length ball, I think, just popped on the wicket, and he just tried to pull it, and it's popped up on him, and it just was a dolly of a catch to mid on, and I wasn't that far away from the stumps, and I took the catch, but on the way into my finger, the ball just hit my finger on the way in, broke this finger, and I didn't know the finger was broken. So I asked Darren. I said, Darren, I think the joint is slipped. I needed to pull it. So he pulled it. And I said, no, man, you hold there, and he pulled it. I said, no, you got to hold the tip here and pull it. And he pulled it again. And then eventually my finger still wasn't feeling well. So I said to Brian, Brian, look, my finger's still not feeling well. I think I need to go off and check what's happening with this. So I went off, and I did go to the physio, had a look. We went to the hospital, did an x-ray. And then the guys wanted to know what's going on with my finger, because they don't know what's happening now. They did the x-rays, bones are hanging one side, and they want to know what's going on with my finger, because what happened when Darren pulled, I asked him to do it, but when he did pull it, it tore the bone off from one side, and the bone was hanging in the other side. So now I had to come back and inject my finger and go and bat with it. And it was very, very painful, because every time the ball touched the bat, I could feel the pain run through my entire body. So look, first innings, my hand was so sore, my hand wasn't moving quickly enough to get the bat around first innings. I got bowled by Magrat, come through the gate, because my hands wasn't moving. My hands could not move the bat as quick as enough. The pain was killing me from moving it. But the second innings, I had enough injections in it. I went out and I had a bat. And then we had a good start up front with Chris and the other guys, and Brian also had a decent score. And everybody contributed up front. Then Sarwan was there also, and he was going well. We know the wicket was good. We just needed to bat and bat deep. And we told ourselves, look, let's take it as far as we can. Whoever is in, make sure that partnership grows. And we took it as far as we can, and then Sarwan got out. Next morning, I came back. The same evening, I had, I think, Omari Banks came in with me. We fought off the evening with the second new ball. Then next morning, we came out. Next morning, I got out early. But then Vasper Driggs came in with Omari Banks, and the two of them brought it home. They batted really well. They still had to bat well, because Australia was still coming hard. They still, they're not a team that would let up. They would never let up. Australia is one of those teams will never let up. And the guys was tough, and they were coming hard at you all times. Well, we fought all our way, and the next morning we were able to achieve that win. It was one of the biggest wins for us. The tournament was not going well for us. We were losing almost everything. But to come back and break a world record, and have a record, world record chase like that was amazing,
Yeah, until today, it stands the test of time in many ways, because the West Indians almost kind of breached that 395 in Bangladesh, but that 418 was just brilliant. Was that one of the best moments for you in your career? Because you've had some individual glorious moments in the other formats. I remember you hitting 2 sixes, or I think the last ball 6 of Chaminda was to win a game as well. So where does it rank in terms of your career, Shiv?
Look, anytime it comes to the team, I'm always putting that ahead of any individual performance, right? I'm always about my team, and it all boils down to your team. If your team is, yes, you're looking for individual performance, but if your individual performance is benefiting the team, then it's when it's good. You want your performance to always benefit the team. So in that case, I would definitely put that up there.
Okay, super. Let's just talk about Test cricket at large quickly. Who do you think is the best Test match batter right now? We have this debate going around with the Fab Four. Could you quickly rate them in terms of Virat and then Joe Root, Steve Smith, and Kane Williamson? Where do you kind of rank these?
Yeah, look, those are four good names you call there. I mean, I've watched Virat since IPL days. When I was with Bangalore, he came in as a young fella, did really, really well in under 19 cricket, got drafted in Bangalore, came in there. I watched him play innings. He went out and he played as well as he could play and gave us the start we needed at the time. I think he was told off for it, that he was expected to do more, and I was upset about it because I don't think, I mean, a young fella going out there and being told off about he should supposed to do more. He did his part. I know he played his part. You should not have been told off about it, right? But I mean, look, I've seen him from since then. I've seen his improvement over the years and where he at today, and he's still, one of the best player I've seen around. I mean, in all format, it goes to one day cricket, goes to test matches, and also T20 cricket. So, I mean, he's one of the players that is well rounded, that can play all format and play them with ease, right? So, when you see a young fella playing under 19 cricket and can do so well, I remember myself when I came out from under 19 too. The hunger that I had for runs, the hunger that I had for the game, and the passion that I had, the determination. I saw that in him also. I saw all those things. He was one of those young fella who always wanted to do well. And then when you've seen it, what he's done under 19 and then came into the team, he's got a bright future.
Yeah, and the others, just quickly, in terms of Root, Smith, and Williamson, if you had to put them in an order.
Right. So I've seen Joe Root also played over the years. I've seen his cricket from a young kid coming out from Yorkshire. I've been in England playing a lot of county cricket when he joined England team. Yeah, and his cricket have developed, and where he, when he took captaincy, and the way he keep piling on runs after runs. He's one of those players also. Works hard in his game, work hard in getting in. Once he gets in, is a hard guy to get out, and he likes to get scores, big scores also. And he's one of those players, one of those that we had long ago. A lot of guys like that, which when you get an opportunity, to get in, if they get in, they're gonna go big. And yeah, definitely he's one of them. Steve Smith, I've seen him also over the years for Australia. He's one of those other guy from Australia who is tough, who'll go out there and fight. He will fight as long as he can. I mean, people talk about technique and how he looks and this and that, but that don't mean anything once you're out there and doing your job, right? It does not mean anything. I remember Sir Viv was saying it doesn't matter how ugly you look out there, how ugly the runs are. You can make ugly runs, but at the end of the day, you're still there. And I remember that from also Steve Waugh. When you play against them, he would fight. He will do whatever he has to do out there to survive, right? And I've seen that, and I know our bowlers come hard at him, pepper him with all kinds of things, and he will still stand up there and fight. And I know Steve Smith have those fights also. I've seen him over the years, and he will, in all conditions, he's gone to Sri Lanka, gone to different conditions, and he delivered. When you see guys like that can deliver in different conditions like Sri Lanka, India, and the subcontinent, yes, you're coming from Australia, but you can go to the subcontinent and those wickets, not wicket that is prepared in your favor, wicket that is prepared how India would prepare the wicket, how Sri Lanka would prepare the wicket. When you have wicket prepared those way, and it's spinning, bouncing from day one, bouncing and turning, gripping, right? And guys can still go out there and do well, you respect those guys. You definitely have to respect those guys. I mean,
Absolutely.
I see Ken Williamson over the years. So he came to the Caribbean the first time he played against us in the Caribbean, and he was asking me about his skills and how I think he's batting in the tournament and stuff. And I said to him, look, you are batting really well, but some way along the line, you get 20, you get 30, you get 40, and you get out, right? You have to find a way to stop that and keep on doing the same thing you're doing. You are solid, you're looking really good, but you just need to make sure that you don't get out in those areas so you can bat long and make sure you stretch your innings out and get big scores, because you need big scores to survive in test matches. I mean, he's looking good for 20, 30, and 40, but we need to make sure that he does not, as a cricketer, you don't get out too early, in especially test matches. You want to make sure you get big scores. And look, over the years, he developed, and he's able to get those, big scores that he needs. And his cricket has gone from one level to a different level.
Yeah, superb analysis from you for all those Fab Four, and I take it you put it in that order cheekily as well. I just want to ask you on Test cricket, because you're such a romantic of the game in terms of a cricket fan. One thing that you do to kind of just keep it alive, there's so much chatter where it's kind of dying a slow death. How could we kind of resuscitate the game, Shiv, through your eyes?
Look, I mean, the young generation these days, all they're thinking about, make as much as they can while the career lasts. No cricketer career goes forever. In the past, players, hardly make anything much. Now the players still have options out there because you have a lot of T20 leagues. They always have T10, different leagues. Every part of the world is opening up now, and players getting this opportunity to go here, there, and everywhere and play whatever cricket they can to survive. Right? I mean, you even have legend leagues opening up now here, there, and everywhere, where the older players also get a chance to come back and make a little bit of money. Even if they're home and not doing anything, they can still go out and play and make a little bit of money. But it is good to have all these leagues out there. Test cricket, to me, will still be the ultimate. I mean, that is where you test a player if he's good enough to survive. And if his skills is not good enough, it will show up in those format, right? I mean, that format is where you know how good a player is, or if he's not that's good enough to survive. But T20 cricket does not require those things. All it requires is some power, lots of power if you have that, and a little bit of skills to make sure you can smash a few balls around the park. And that's all is required. It does not require too much of skills.
Yeah, it just makes you think about the game and how youngsters are getting into it. You mentioned a certain youngster there who you, of course, played with in the IPL. I just want to ask you quickly about your IPL stories from RCB. And what was your memories from RCB? Because you, of course, played with Dravid and Callis, and it was under the Mallya's ownership. Do you remember those kind of days at RCB?
Yeah, look, I remember the boss, Vijay Mallya. I mean, he was one of our sponsors from way back then with Kingfisher and West Indies team. He invited us to his home in was it Dubai or something? Yeah, I remember him well, and I know I spoke to him a few times, and he had wanted me to do really well for the team at that time around. But look, I just flown in from the Caribbean because, as you were talking about that game up front against Sri Lanka, where I hit the last ball for 6. So I just got into India. The time difference is so much from back home here. So you're still not climatized properly. You're still feeling a bit sleepy, going out to play matches, and your body is still not climatized. You're still feeling a bit sleepy. But the first couple of weeks, and after that, then you get accustomed to the different time zones. But I mean, I wasn't able to do much in the first couple of matches. So after that, I didn't play anything much after that.
And what was the dressing room like in terms of back then, the IPL? Lot less professional, I take it.
No, it was always good. I mean, look, we are professional players from different countries, and we all respect each other. And it was always, the respect is there and always good in the dressing room. It was nothing that you would always worry about. It was always good in the dressing room.
Okay, let me just ask you a couple of quick singles because you took a lot of them in your life. First one, Shiv, Indian food or scoring runs against India? Which one do you love more, or did you love more?
I love both of them. I love both of them, man. I grew up in an Indian home. I eat Indian food every day. And without the food, you can't go out and score runs. I think I'll take food first, and then I'll go score runs after.
That 2002 series comes to mind. You absolutely plundered the bowlers that whole series.
Where was this?
In the 2002 series, so much so that Zaheer Khan bowled left arm spin.
Oh, was that in the Caribbean?
That was in the Caribbean, where you got, I
Right.
think, 400, 500 runs in that 5-match series.
That was a tough series for. I mean, both sides. I mean, look, when India got into the guys, some got big scores too. They bat long and thing, but I mean, look, we had to. There was only a couple of us who could really probably bat well against India. I mean, Hooper was one of them. Myself, Brian did not get much runs. I mean, the other guys, SARS, I think got a few, if I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not. I mean, the few guys who really stand up and bat against India and do well against the Indian spinners. And as we said, whenever we have our meeting and we talk, we sit down and we discuss things. And we always, from way back when I started in '94 with the older guys, with Desmond Haynes and all those Richie Riches and all those guys in the past, we talk about, always talk about, whenever you get a chance to get in, make sure you go big. Make sure you set the team up properly, put them in a good position. And these are the things that you stick in your head from way back then. And then you always try to make sure whenever you get an opportunity to get in, you go as big as you can to make sure your team is in a good position at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Another quick single then. You've been a man who every time goes out to bat for any team, you've had the utmost sort of concentration. So what's the sledge that you've heard in your life where even you chuckle under that helmet?
Oh, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I try to I've tried blank those things out of my head. If somebody's saying anything, all I probably be doing just go on the corner, say my mantras, and just come back to bat. Clear my mind, do my mantras, and come back to bat, trying to focus on the next ball that is coming. So I sometimes don't. My mind is so focused on what I'm doing that, I just go straight into my mantras and back onto batting.
Okay. Last one then for me, because we always do this with the guest who comes on to the show. I want to ask you your 11 test cricketers that you played against. Can you quickly build 11? You can name any era, but players that you played against, Shiv. So in batting order.
Maybe I'll go Sewa, Hayden, Sachin, Poynton, Kallis, Gilly, Morley as spinner, Warney as spinner, Akram, Ambrose, Lee.
Wow. That is one hell of a team. That is a brilliant team. And who's captain of that team?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, look, probably may have to use Ricky since he's been captaining for such a long time for Australia. I'd probably put Ricky as the captain.
Oh, superb. And now, because you're a great test legend in terms of the batting side of things, this is a quick game in terms of build the ideal test batter, right? So I'm going to name out 8 sort of characteristics. You just have to tell me a current batter or a batter of test cricket which fits in that bill and description perfectly. Technique, give me a name.
Technique, look, I would pick Sachin up there as one of the batters who will go out there and stick in and bat for, definitely
Okay.
Sachin, yeah.
Skill?
Skills wise, I'll go Brian.
Okay. Temperament?
Brian also. Brian is one of those guys, when he gets in, he goes big. So, yeah.
Okay. Patience, you can't mention Brian or Tendulkar here.
I'm going Dravid.
Okay, love it. Offside?
Outside?
Offside game.
Who's got a better offside game?
Yeah, generally.
I'll pick Sewa.
Okay. And leg side?
Leg side. I think Azharuddin.
Okay, superb. Defense?
Solid defense. Sachin.
Okay, and lastly, attack. That you've seen.
Sewa.
Okay, Sehwag is super. Shiv Chanderpaul, thank you so much for your time. Just really quickly, how does a day in the life of Chanderpaul look right now? Because so many fans are watching this. They want to know what you do, because obviously you're a coach in the CPL. Will you come across to Indian shores to coach an IPL team soon?
Well, hopefully, I can get over there sometime in the future. No, look, every day is just like any other day. When I'm home, I'm with the family, mainly quiet family life. And then when I'm off the coaching, I go off to do my work and then back home. Sometimes in the weekend here, I still go out and play a little bit of cricket with the guys. On the weekends, they still have competition out here. I go and play with them. But mainly, I spend the time with the family if not much to do.
Okay, and you mentioned the family there. I have to ask you about Tagenarine and your lovely son. He's just, of course, not reminiscent of you, but where do you think he'll, of course, end up in his cute career?
Well, it all depends on how much he wants it. He needs to do some work. He needs to improve his skills. His skills also being exposed. Some of his weakness being exposed recently, and these days everybody have footage of these things. Anybody can access these footage. He needs to make some corrections. He's one of those guys. He get an opportunity, gets in. He likes to bat long. I mean, young players these days need to make sure that they spend a little more time on analyzing their game and work out the areas that need improving and work on them. You can't just like, oh yeah, I have a little fault here and there, and thinking that, yeah, maybe somebody might forget about it and they might not come on board to you in those areas, or maybe a day you get away with it, but it's still there. Your fault is still there, and you're gonna still be people gonna still exploit it. So you have to work on it and get better. If you get better in it and you can survive, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, one just wonders what a day would be actually with you in terms of a batting masterclass and all these lessons you're giving us. Thank you so much for your time. There's a one hot take we always ask our guests again, and this is a game called Play, Bench, and Sell. But I'm giving you 5 options. You have to play 2, bench 2, and sell 1, okay? In terms of West Indian IPL legends. So you have Chris Gale, Sunil Narine, Andre Russell, Kieran Pollard, and Dwayne Bravo. Who are you playing? You have to play 2 out of them. Who are you selling? You have to sell 1, and you have to bench 2.
Wow. I'm gonna play Sunil and Gale. Oh. I'm gonna bench Pollard and Russell. Who's the other guy now?
Bravo. You're going to
Oh
sell
my
him.
God. Oh my God. I have to. I might sell. No, I might bench Bravo and Russell. I'm gonna have to sell Pollard now.
Oh, my word. You heard it here on cricket.com. Cheers. Thank you so much. And we'll tag you on Insta. We'll keep you updated and everything. And you've been amazing fun, Shiv.
No
Amazing. Bless you.
worries. Cheers. Thanks.